Yo, Thought Warriors. What is up? Her Learning is on. It is I, Van Lathan Jr.
And it's me, Rachel and Lindsay.
What was the response to having Donnie read the topics? Did anyone?
I didn't see a response. I honestly
forgot. I didn't see a response either.
No response. So I think that's a resounding no from the Thought Warriors.
Not at all. I think they accept anything that you do.
You don't want to do it.
Go for it. I forgot.
The more interesting thing, Donnie, is that you don't want to do it. Why don't you want to do it?
I don't not want to do it. It just is it's a major shakeup. It's a major shakeup to the flow of the podcast. And I don't know if we've put enough actual thought into it before we put it into actual, like a real life thing.
I think the reason we didn't get a response is because you haven't done it yet. So let's let you do it and let's see what the people have to say.
Yeah.
All right.
In 2025, we going to the next level. And I think this is one of the things that's going to get us there.
Yeah.
Topics come in, me and Rachel, boom, pop, pow, pow. We have Ana Foxxx joining us on the podcast today. Ana Foxxx, award-winning adult actress, wrestler. Wrestler. I didn't know she wrestled. She's going to be talking to us about Lily Phillips, the OnlyFans creator who had sex with 100 guys in a day. Her documentary came out, and the whole internet was talking about the ramifications of sex work and the fact that Lily Phillips, to some, didn't look very happy with the decisions that she made. I don't think people watched the whole documentary. I think they watched the clips. However, a lot of people have thoughts about sex work and sex workers, so Ana Foxxx is going to join us today. We had a great conversation with her, Rachel. You and her talked about you guys' favorite porn star.
You asked about her top 5. She mentioned one that I'm familiar with, which I think most people are. And she gave us a little insight.
That you brought up on the show before.
You asked me to name them. It's not like I just one day was like, hey, let's talk about this person. You asked me to name, and I was like, ooh, I know one. Which
that's exactly what you did. You went,
yeah.
Ooh, I know one.
He's like a just household like name, to be honest.
If you're watching.
Even if people don't know who he is, they know the term. Like, the term is used in a sense like Kleenex. And you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Oh, so you would say that with your girls? Like, he's got a.
Yeah.
Really?
Like, his name.
Racist motherfucker. See what I'm saying?
His name is synonymous with large penises.
It's so funny. That's so funny because it would be so funny if it was like that for women.
Like
what? If I looked at a girl and she had a big ass and I was like, God damn, she got that Zulu on her. That's an Igbo. God damn, look at that Yoruba thing. If you just looked at a girl and
if she was as big of a name as Mandingo and she was known for her butt and her butt, she named her butt that.
I know.
Then that's the difference.
You're missing me though. What I'm saying is using the term Mandingo to describe a black guy with a big dick. I'm not saying it, but it's definitely rooted in some buck shit, right?
Well, he shouldn't have named himself that. I blame him.
No. All right, let's get started with the podcast. It's a lot of mess on the podcast today. We're going to take a little break from politics to the end of the year, and then we're going to come back. By the time we come back, there won't be a country, but that's okay. That's okay.
We got a couple of weeks into January. But
a couple of weeks into January.
As Trump has continued to say in interviews and on social, day one. He not within 100 days, day one. It's going
every
down.
Time they ask Trump what he's going to do, the revelations become more and more extreme. Like, Donald Trump, what are your plans on day one? Well, my plans on day one is to take, there's a coal miner problem in West Virginia. And I'm thinking of taking the 5th graders and making them work in the coal mines. That'll increase productivity. That'll get us on the same footing with China. 5th graders working coal miners. They put it out there. Trump says 5th graders working coal mines. Everybody goes, oh my God, for 2 seconds. We move on to Remy Ma and Papoose, which is what we're about to do right now. Everything he's saying. They asked Trump, I'm not going to get into it. They asked Trump, they said, how are you going to deport the people without breaking up the families? Trump said, we'll just deport the whole family. And
basically
God.
blames it on them. They have a choice. Do they want to separate? I'm not trying to separate families. If they choose to stay, that's on them. But if one is legal and one is not, that illegal has to go and they can go in. It's so bad. Y'all gotta watch the interview. Watch the interview he does.
All right. Papoose did not get held down by the woman that he held down.
Oh, so you taking sides from the jump.
From the motherfucking jump. Okay? From the motherfucking jump. On the other side of this break. All right, Papoose and Remy Ma.
Donnie.
Yeah, I got this. It's cool. I'll take it.
Oh, okay, let's go.
All right, I'll take the mess. Remy Ma and Papoose are going back and forth for everyone to see. Their business is just on display. Remy Ma allegedly caught Papoose falling asleep while talking to Flint's own Clarissa Shields and discovered that they're seeing each other. She exposed their alleged text messages via screenshots. I'll give a quick summary of some of the screenshots. Clarissa says, you take accountability. You're the one who is married. If you can't sleep on the phone with me or be with me in person, it shouldn't be a big deal to let me know you made it home safe. Sounds like she cares. Or communicate you fell asleep in the Sprinter. Papoose responded back and forth. Cheating rumors have followed Remy Ma for a while in her relationship with Papoose. It's just back and forth. Y'all got thoughts on this?
Definitely. Okay, a couple of
Please go ahead, because I read through this like 5 times trying to give a fuck.
Okay, you don't care. That's great. Let the people know you don't care about what we're talking about. That's a way to go. Look, here's the thing. Here's the deal. I just want to say this. There's stuff that's bigger than them to me in this whole situation. A year ago, maybe a couple years ago, there's a guy named Easy the Block Captain. It's a battle rapper. And Remy Ma was fucking with Easy the Block Captain. That's what everybody says. Pictures of her, Easy the Block Captain, the whole nine. Now, this comes after Remy Ma had gone to prison for a while and Papoose held it down. Remy Ma and Papoose, they were together. Remy Ma goes to jail. Papoose held her down the whole time she was in prison. She comes home from prison. She blows back up. Remy Ma, fantastic actor. Then all of a sudden, she starts seeing Easy the Block Captain, and that makes Pap, from what I'm gathering here, say, okay, it's over. I want to see other people, right? And now it's him and Clarissa Shields, and Remy Ma's gone crazy. She's put this all in the thing. I personally think that cheating on somebody that held you down while you were in jail, that didn't go off crazy, that held you down while you were in jail, I think that's as bad as cheating on someone when they're pregnant, which I think is disgusting.
All right. Has Remy Ma acknowledged that she was cheating with Easy the Block Captain?
There's no doubt about the fact that she was with Easy the Block Captain.
Wait. There are pictures, I know, of them like together, but the pictures picture could just be a picture. My point is, has she acknowledged that she did? Like, for the purposes of the story, because normally we would say things like alleged.
Okay, alleged. But alleged. Papoose posted a screenshot of Remy with Easy the Block Captain under a Christmas tree. And the caption was, while I was at home with my daughter last Christmas, this is where Remy Ma was, with Easy the Block Captain, Christmas. Now that I finally move on, she's angry and making up lies.
Here's the thing with this story. We don't know. Like, first off, the reason I say it's hard for me to give a fuck is because I don't care. And we shouldn't be in this. It's really hard for, like, we should not be
I agree with
this. I hate when people take their business and litigate it in the court of public opinion to win favor with strangers or try to prove themselves or try to get ahead of allegations or whatever it may be. There's so much we don't know. There's so many assumptions that have to be tied to this. Right. Remy Ma went to jail. Papoose stayed with her the whole time. Nobody can speak to what actually happened while she was in jail. You don't know if he was faithful or not. We don't know. We just assume
know that
because
he held her down.
Yes, we know he stayed with her. We know that he, I'm sure, like did all the things that somebody does when somebody's in jail, the most that you could do. But the truth is, you have no idea. You don't even know if she gave him permission to do stuff while she was in jail. We have no clue. We have no idea. And that's my point of this whole thing. You don't know what happened. We don't know who cheated first. We don't know what was allowed and what wasn't. We don't know anything. So that's why I say it's hard for me to have an opinion. It's hard for me to even talk about this because there's so much you don't know. All we know is what they're putting out there in social media. You, my friend, have already developed an opinion and picked a side, as you said. Even called Remy Ma crazy. Run the tape back.
Remy Ma's going crazy. Crazy. Okay.
So you have already
let me tell you something real quick.
Picked an opinion.
Let me tell you something real quick. Let me tell you something
I'm choosing not to.
You don't know the definition of a hold down. I could tell this. You don't know the definition of a hold down.
That's another
hold
assumption.
Down is
the theme of this podcast.
You don't know the definition of a hold down because you're describing a hold down as something that is not. A hold down is this. Because we always talk about it when it's women and men. If I go to jail, are you going to hold me down? A hold down is the whole time you're in jail, take care of your stuff, keep your name alive on the streets. Don't go with somebody else, right? I'm talking about start another relationship. I'm talking about divorce you, move on. I'm talking about I'm holding you down. I'm here. I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting for you with the house. I'm waiting for you with your career. I'm waiting for you with the thing. I'm holding you down. I'm visiting you the whole time. I'm not turning my back on you because you popped somebody and then you went to jail for it. That's what a hold down is. And a lot of times when we're talking about women holding men down when they go to the prison, the big house, all the stuff where the judge will put you, like we're talking about the fact that, hey, you got to move on with your life. You got to do all this. You shouldn't be expected to hold no man down. And I get it. Mm-hmm. Maybe you shouldn't. But if you do a hold down, a true hold down, man, I feel like that there should be something that comes with that. That's all I'm saying.
You don't know. Remy Ma was in jail for almost 7 years.
7 years.
And you're assuming that he did nothing in 7 years. Just like I'm assuming that he probably did.
I'm assuming he held her. I'm not talking about, look, if he went and got some pussy or whatever like that, that's one thing. But I'm talking about a hold down.
Okay.
Because you never know what the situation is. I'm talking about a hold down.
Unless she permitted it, it's cheating. Unless she permitted it, it's cheating.
But what I'm saying is a hold down is about the maintaining the fabric of the relationship and keeping this person and not turning your back on them because they went to jail. That's the hold down.
And you can, I'm not denying that he did that. I'm not denying that he held her down, that he didn't turn her back, but I'm sure that he did his thing within the 7 years. Just like
we don't know that.
And that's my point of the whole thing, which is why it's so hard to talk. We don't know. What I do know is that this is ridiculously messy. They have children. It's like divorce already. He's clearly got a relationship. She's got one too. I will assume that. And it's like divorce and leave each other alone. Like I feel it feels wrong to even be talking about this, to be reading about this. Like I could care less. And I'll be honest with you. They're not even like that big of stars for me to even be like Remy Ma is Remy Ma. Remy Ma is Remy Ma. I ain't taking anything away from that. Papoose is not even as big of a star. There are two couples that
this shows me that
No. I know who he is. I've known him for who he is for years. That's Donnie and Ashleigh. Donnie and Ashleigh. Ashleigh, tell me what your partner said before when you mentioned this subject matter. Donnie, do you consider, like, it's not like they have like, I get what they mean to the culture, especially being two rappers that got together.
I don't think you do. Like Papoose and Remy Ma, like I don't think y'all do. Sometimes I have to remember that I'm doing a podcast with a group of people who didn't know what drill music was. Because the reality is that
who said that I didn't know what drill music was?
You weren't here. But back in the day, we were talking about drill music, and I
didn't know it had a title.
Donnie and Rachel didn't know what drill music was.
But we knew some of the people that were in it. But go ahead.
No, you guys didn't. So what I'm saying is, what Remy Ma and Papoose represent together as a unit, as far as it's the hold down. The hold down is what matters. They stayed together throughout a 7-year prison stint. And when they came back, it was gravy. That means something to people, particularly some people around the way.
I'm not denying that. That was, you know when she got out? 10 years ago.
Okay.
I'm talking about them being relevant as relevant now. That was 10 years ago when she got out. It just doesn't hold the same weight. And there have been rumors for years about them cheating. Like, even when this came up, I was like, when I saw the story, I'm like, haven't we already talked about this? It's just not holding as much weight. They're just not as big.
It doesn't matter because this doesn't matter because Remy Ma is a woman and Papoose is a man. If the situation was reversed and Papoose had gone to jail and Remy Ma had come home, and he had come home, and then it was all good, and then he ends up with...
Well, now we know why you want to talk about it.
Is Xenia the Black Gender Wars.
Now we know why you want to talk about it, and now it all makes sense. It's just hard for me. To be honest, I am in no way as big of a star as Papoose and Remy Ma, and I'd rather talk about the TMZ article between me and Willie than I would this.
Let's talk. Oh, I didn't know if you was going to want to talk about it. No, bring it up. Bring it up. See, another thing.
There's nothing to say.
You don't share. You got to share, Rach.
There's nothing to say. It's not like we don't know each other. I've talked about him all the time, multiple times. So have you on the podcast. It's not like we don't know each other.
So the article, the article that you and Willie Jones went to the Jingle Ball. I did not leak it. Okay. You and Willie Jones went to the Willie Jones Country Superstar, went to the Jingle Ball together.
Yes, that's my friend. What's the Jingle Ball? Friends. There was nothing in the article about kissing or holding hands, because believe me, if that was the case, they would have put all of that in there. But yeah, we went to the Jingle Ball.
Okay. So I'm glad you addressed it. Because, Rach.
Yes, you get on me for this kind of stuff. Go ahead.
A lot of people want to know, man. A lot of people want to know what's going on in the life of Rach, just because you were so open during the time of The Bachelor and now you cut them off and they don't know how to react.
I was open on the show. I got a lot of criticism for not being open about my relationship with my ex while we were together. People would be like, y'all don't post enough. Y'all don't talk about stuff. Because I did want to pull back. And I think moving forward, I will try to give as little as possible. I'll acknowledge things, but I don't want people as involved or feel like that they have the right to be as involved in whatever I decide to do. But right now, I'm having fun.
There you go. Donnie, next topic.
I will say this, though. That was good advice to Remy Ma and Papoose, though. Like, we don't need to know all of this stuff. Value your privacy.
That's not, but once again, here's the thing. If you make your relationship, I get what you guys are saying, but if you make your relationship part of your celebrity kit. Now, if your celebrity kit is, I'm a great singer, I'm a great dancer, I'm great in an interview, that's one thing. But the minute you put the relationship as part of the celebrity kit, it's part of the kit forever. And I'm not speaking with TMZ brand, I'm just letting people know. That I really do sometimes feel like that's unfair to the fans. It's like, hey, look at us going to a restaurant. Hey, look at our beautiful family. Hey, look at this. Hey, look at that. It's a very tough private time. Let us be human beings. Let us step away from it. No.
Well,
if the celebrity kit is part of the relationship, it's part of the relationship till the kit gets dismantled.
We don't need that. Like, I agree with you to a point, and that could be, hey, we're separating, announcing it, not like allowing the speculation that we're separating, we're moving on, but we don't need this. I only screenshot.
I mean, they've been on reality shows. Anyway,
yeah, that too.
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. Last question. A lot of people are asking the question, who in a scrap, because Clarissa Shields got them dogs, the greatest women fighter of all time, definitely up there. Who went in a scrap between Remy Ma and Clarissa Shields? You never compare these two types of people. You don't compare a fighter to a shooter.
Yeah.
The fighter wins the fight, the shooter wins the shootout. Like back in Baton Rouge, it was guys you knew you could get a fair fight with them. And then there was guys that you knew, and they'll straight say. I remember, rest in peace to him, I'm not gonna mention his name, he'd be like, yeah, we could fight, but if I can't beat you, I'm gonna shoot you. And niggas like, nah, I wanna fight. And we know Remy Ma, pop, put one in you, so
yeah,
no violence, you know? Donnie.
All right. Jamie Foxx. Did y'all watch the special?
I did.
Okay, cool. He special just came out a couple of days ago. What had happened was it's the first time he's spoken on what happened a year ago. Let me play some audio for y'all real quick.
April 11th, I was having a bad headache, and I asked my boy for an aspirin. And before I could get the aspirin, I went out. I don't remember 20 days.
He went on to talk about how the doctor said that he had a brain bleed that ended up leading to a stroke. This was all while he was in Atlanta in 2023 filming a movie Back in Action. The special in general was like more of a one-man show than a stand-up special. He really got emotional, but it was filled with jokes and some truth. What'd you guys think?
I thought it was great. I think I might have been like most people, maybe expecting it to be straight up a stand-up. I didn't really read about it before, but you know, Thought Warriors will remember that one time when the news came out about Jamie Foxx and that he had a medical emergency, and we didn't know the details around it. We talked about how great of an artist, all around artist he is, and that Van, you asked that question, and we picked that if we could have one male artist to perform for us for the rest of our life, and then everybody else was gone, it would be Jamie Foxx. And watching this special, because that's what it was a special, and it really was special, I felt like he solidified that thought, that comment that we had, that discussion that we had. He solidified his legacy, and he solidified who he is as an artist. I understand that there was some debate back and forth that some people wanted more, but I feel like he gave everybody just what they needed and what he needed to give. I appreciated that he took control of the narrative and he found a way to creatively discuss what happened to him. It was funny. It was emotional. It was vulnerable. It was beautiful. It was raw. I appreciated how he gave credit to others, his daughters, his friends, his circle of friends, his sister, to God. And it was really interesting because somebody said that it felt like he, especially towards the end, when he was talking about the things that he's done, it felt like an obituary, but he was alive. Like that's, and I was like, that's exactly what it felt like as he was doing it. I thought it was great, man.
You know what I got from the special more than anything? I'm so happy he's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's more than anything. I mean, Jamie has such an array of talent that anytime he gets up there, it's going to be something special for you, right? Mm-hmm. He's really, really, when you think about it, when we're talking about all the multi-talented guys, he's really the only one that's an A+ across the board of the men. There are a lot of guys who can do all the stuff, but Jamie Foxx is an A+ comedian. He's an A+ artist. He's an A+ actor. Like, he's really the only guy that gives you A's like across the board.
Yeah.
And if not A+, definitely A's. He's the only guy that's like to where you don't go, oh yeah, he can do stand-up comedy, but it's not as good. He can act, but he's not quite the actor. He's really the only guy that gives you consistency across the board, like an A-lister in all of those different arenas. So you're never gonna be disappointed when he takes the stage. But the more I watched this, I was like, man, I'm happy Jamie didn't die.
Yeah.
Like it being an obituary is an interesting thing because there were times up there where it seemed like he was in his afterlife, to where he's gone through something like that. He's been there, and now he gets to reflect. Mm-hmm. It's like that Denzel Washington movie Fallen, which is great. It starts off, let me tell you about the time I almost died, and then by the end of it, you realize it's all fucked up and it's the cat and the demon and the whole nine. But anyway,
great movie.
Great movie. I love it. And I was just very happy that Jamie Foxx is okay. I was very entertained, but I more felt good that we didn't lose that brother.
Yeah. It was great.
He said you off the white women.
No, he didn't say that. But see, like a Jamie can joke about it because that scene was so funny where he's like, I say scene, that moment was so funny where, because what I did was, it's like he heard everything people were saying about him and he addressed it in only the way that he could, whether he was doing an impersonation, whether he was singing about it, or just like talking about it directly. And he acknowledged like he's on the white women, had them black women, which is it was so interesting too. When every time they would span the audience, I was like, man, black women are such a loyal following, like such a loyal audience. So they're so supportive. That was majority who was in the crowd. And when he's talked about how he was swearing off white women because he knows y'all think that was a part of his downfall, I had the black women like praising him like he was preaching, like it was church, and then say, but I'm just not going to do it in public. I thought, and Jamie can get away with that. Because the one thing you got to say is Jamie doesn't dog black women. He doesn't
that's the thing.
He doesn't put white women over black women. I mean, like, yes, that's his preference, but he doesn't do it in a way that puts black women down. It's just his choice.
Yeah, I think sometimes and I'm not going to speak for black women, but I think sometimes that's why that one episode of Atlanta is so particularly offensive to me. The Drake episode where the black woman is feral and she's snarling and she's attacking a white woman for a relationship, and the white woman very clearly explains to her why, whatever. The reason why that bothers me is because it don't be the relationship itself that really pisses black women off as much as from what I've seen. It's what it signifies a lot of times. And a lot of times, the guys that we're talking about, they either haven't done enough or haven't been culturally relevant enough not for the relationship to go, oh, see what I'm talking about? One of those. And Jamie's just kind of like, for whatever reason, is not a thing. He keeps his personal life personal. That's one.
Yeah.
That's one.
Yeah.
Like you said a couple of days ago, like you said Robert Griffith III, RG3. You said his white woman, and he puts his white woman in our face.
And he does. Stop trying to force Donnie, her on a... Okay, let me get off.
Let's move on to another white woman.
The other white woman is Caitlin Clark. She had this interview with Time where she spoke about black women and her role in the NBA. She said, I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege. A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has kind of been built on them. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, and then continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made this league incredible, I think it's very important. I have to continue to try to change that. The more we can elevate black women, that's going to be a beautiful thing. Now, one of the biggest detractors of this was Megyn Kelly. She was disgusted. She said, look at this. She's on the knee, all but apologizing for being white and getting attention. The self-flagellation. The, oh, please, pay attention to the black players who are really the ones who we want to celebrate. Condescending, fake, transparent, sad. But Megyn wasn't alone. Bunch of rando MAGAs was pissed too in the comments. Here's some a sprinkling of some examples. I'll put them on the screen. I'll read them out loud for y'all. CC, have you not learned? 76 million people just voted no woke and yes for Trump. You caved. You blew it. She really betrayed her whole fan base. What the F? At least we know she's in it for the money now. Sell out. That's just examples. Feedback. What y'all think about this?
I love it. I love it. I will say I don't give a fuck about what Caitlin Clark said like that because that's just PR bullshit. But I love the fact that she knows now, if she didn't know before, why they love her so much. Cause this is what I like. Caitlin Clark saying, "Hey, we gotta do all of that." That's I don't. Once again, the allyship. I'm not about to sit here and give Caitlin Clark a box of cookies or invite her into the proverbial cookout that y'all niggas love to invite people to because she said that. Great. If she really feels that way, then in the long term in her career in the WNBA, that will show itself through the opportunities that she creates and the people that she lifts up. So that's on her. But the more important thing is to see why they love her so much because to me, once you are a white warrior, once you are one of those people, the one thing that they hate more than anything is you in any way acting like you give a fuck about a nigger.
We don't play no boogie woogie.
Get. That's what all of those. That's what all of those comments were saying. Get, Caitlin, get. Take you and your niggers and you get out. You get out of our establishment. Get.
Jamie Foxx used the word niggers, and I started laughing. I was like, yes, we love it. We love that word. Okay. I don't think. Okay, so 2 things, maybe 3. Caitlin Clark was named Athlete of the Year for Time. You agree with that or no? Because there was also a lot of talk about that. Like a lot of people were like, she didn't win. How could she get Athlete of the Year? Guys, for the conversation that we're having right now, for the narrative that always follows her, whether you agree with it or not, whether you're for her or against her, whether you look at her stats, whether you look at the accomplishments, college, now her first year in the pros, she is so deserving of Athlete of the Year for the influence that she has. So that's that.
Certainly. Yeah.
2, I agree with you because I think it's interesting that maybe because we're looking at it in written form, but Caitlin Clark, what she said in this interview is not far off from what she's been saying. She has constantly paid homage to the people that came before her, talked about how giving respect to Black WNBA players and how she stood on their shoulders. Like, this isn't new. So to me, she didn't say anything. She's always held herself, despite the criticism that she gets from everybody on both sides. It does seem like this she can never do anything right. She's always held herself, had a level of self-awareness, call it PR or not. She's always been mature about it. She's always seems to rise above it. And at the age of 22, which is impressive, you can call it whatever you want to, whatever you want. To me, this was no different from how she's always presented herself. What I do find interesting reading the statement from Megyn Kelly, what all these trolls in the comments, I feel like, and this was something that floated around in our group chat as well, talking about Ben Shapiro and talking about his response to the CEO murder of United Healthcare and just talking about healthcare in this country. It's interesting how people are starting to respond and slightly turn on this rage baiting. I know we as a podcast are exhausted by it, but it seems like people are exhausted because they know exactly what's going to happen. Like clockwork, you could have predicted that Megyn Kelly would have an issue with it, that she thrives off division and hate, that she thrives off of this rage baiting, because this is how these conservative voices or any extremist voice gets clicks, likes, views, engagement. And I think the public is starting to become exhausted by it.
Couldn't agree more.
You know what's going to happen. And to
Yeah.
me, this instance, I feel like is an opportunity that is a situation that highlights it. And I think we're going to continue to see this. Enough. When we can start predicting exactly how you're going to respond. She said she's giving a tribute to the people who came before her, which were Black women. It's enough. Enough.
The Ben Shapiro one was really interesting because as Ben goes up there was an expectation of solidarity from his audience.
Mm-hmm.
There was an expectation that he would give them some red meat in terms about him talking about the murder of United Healthcare CEO. It was expected he would give them some red meat and then they would own the libs. And what you saw, I don't know if you guys saw this, Ben Shapiro did a video about why the left is condoning the murder of this CEO. And he was expecting an own the libs moment. And if you looked through his comments, you saw people going, hey, man, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. My father was a lifelong Republican. And I say was because he died, because he couldn't get this, because he couldn't get that. I'm in this type of medical debt. This is not a partisan issue. He's like, I can't believe it. Ben is making the lefties and the righties hug in his comments. Now, I don't know how there's still issues that are going to be wedge issues no matter what, but I do think that there is a growing group of people who are like, y'all really just fucking with us. Like, and that's why it's important to to have the conversations, because people are like, y'all really just fucking with us. Now, that doesn't mean that we're going to agree on all of these things or that I don't think you guys are fundamentally wrong about some things. But there is a growing group of people that are like, this isn't for us. It's to make you guys richer. Ben Shapiro's up 50 million. Megyn Kelly has 100 million from NBC for getting canceled. These people are getting rich on keeping you angry.
Yeah.
On keeping you mad. And not just on the right, on the left as well.
Yeah.
And so I think in the next couple of years, there are going to be people who seek out actual real conversation and dialogue about how to move on and share your community with folk you might not disagree with, as long as those folk respect your humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But yeah, I think you're right. On the other side of this interview with adult film star, producer, and wrestler Ana Foxxx, we're going to talk about sex work. We're going to talk about the OnlyFans creator that slept with 100 men in a day. Is that empowering or is that disgusting? We're going to talk about it on the other side of this break. Okay, big topic on Twitter. OnlyFans model Lily Phillips. New documentary on her shows her crying, or at least getting really emotional, after she had sex with 100 men in one day. Now, that is I guess you'd say that's your headline, but the meat of the article here is an exploration into sex work, into the adult industry, because whenever something like this happens, people look and they say, oh my God, this is what it does to your soul. This is what sex work is. And this is a reflection of that. We want to have that conversation here on Higher Learning, but we don't want to have it in an insensitive or uninformed way. So we have someone joining us today to answer some questions. Model, producer, erotic film actress, and wrestler?
All of those things are nice.
Ana Foxxx is joining us on Higher Learning today to talk with us a little bit about that. Ana, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
So have you seen either the documentary or the clips of Lily Phillips, who is an OnlyFans creator, that have been going viral lately with her reactions to the scene or the content that she shot?
So at first I saw the clip and everybody's response was so aggressive that I was like, well, let me watch the documentary so I can understand the clip. So I did watch both.
Okay. What were your thoughts?
I I feel like everybody's so angry at her. I feel like a lot of people are like, I don't feel bad for her. I don't have any sympathy for her. Fuck her. These are her decisions, her mistakes, blah, blah, blah. But I don't think she's asking for sympathy at all. The clip of her crying is literally right after she got done getting fucked by 100 guys. And I think that was like her raw reaction to her accomplishment. And then she goes on to explain why other people shouldn't do it. And that's what she wanted to do. She had started off doing something similar with, I think, like 30 something guys. And now she wants to do 1,000. So I don't think she's asking for sympathy. I think she's emotional like any other, I guess, athlete would be. I'm sure like LeBron cries. Like I would call her like sex working LeBron right now. She just she did 100 in a game. Like that's a great score. So
let me ask you this: why do you think people think she's crying?
I think people think she's asking for sympathy, and I don't think people listen to her or why she's truly crying. I think they made up a reason why she's crying. They're like, oh, she's crying. Look at how sad she is. I don't think she's sad at all. I think she's just emotional after fucking 100 guys, which would be emotional. I've done 8 before.
You done 8. I think I watched the documentary too, and I think what was the response that people had towards her crying was because if you watch the 45 minutes, she's talking about how happy she is to do this and how this is going to give her serotonin and how this is a fantasy for her. And this is something she's always wanted to do. And that is a stark contrast to what we see her crying. And it is a little different from like a LeBron James winning a championship because those appear to be tears of joy.
Yeah.
She is so overcome with emotion that she has to step away from the camera and gather herself before she can speak on camera again and really put words to her emotion. And even then, she's struggling with it, and her words and her emotion don't at all reflect happiness or somebody who's gotten all this serotonin from this experience. She even describes it at one point as robotic, and she doesn't remember majority of it. And I think that's the response that people are getting. Did you have any, I guess, reaction to that? Because it was it didn't seem like it was what she expected it to be, and the feelings she had before were not reflected at the end.
Yeah, I could sympathize with that a lot because getting into sex work, you think a lot of it is a fantasy because that's what we portray. So, like you're expecting these like overwhelming moments of orgasms and splish splash and all that shit that like comes in a Fabio romance novel, but you get here and it's completely different. I remember my first experiences with wanting to try escorting. I was like, I felt a lot like her. Like I was so excited to try it. I always wanted to do it. Like it seemed like a really cool thing. And then I went on my first tour, which was rapid fire clients. And I was immediately like, oh, actually, this was a little bit more overwhelming. Like her not wanting to let her fans down for the 5 minutes that they had with her. And like she gave some of them 3 minutes or a little bit more. Like if she can be overwhelmed with the experience of it all, of it not really being the fantasy that she wanted, of it not really being everything that she mapped out, and like for how stressful it was, like she barely got any breaks. And that was like her first break on camera, like outside of the shower. That was like her first break. So I'm not surprised at all that her emotions wouldn't like come out and be like, yeah, fuck yeah,
Yeah.
Just like super exhausting and draining. So I feel like maybe those joyous moments came after, but what we saw was like her raw reaction to like everything. So,
yeah.
Anna,
the dialogue here comes from two very distinct places. One place is a sort of cultural and societal push to normalize and humanize sex work over the past 5, 10, maybe even 15 years.
Yeah.
And another side that talks about how dehumanizing sex work is, how unnatural sex work is, and how sex workers themselves are doing it because they are in some way broken or they are in some way not whole. And so when something like this happens, rather than people actually have a conversation about the person or the incident, it seems more like they're having a conversation about that, about how much we should humanize and respect sex work. You've been in the business for a while. Where do you feel like that conversation is right now?
I definitely see like more so let's humanize sex workers. Like the majority of the conversation is that. But I feel like when I was watching her documentary, there was another sex worker that he had interviewed, and like I agreed with her with saying like the push of like radical things in sex work to be popular or something or famous or whatever it is. Like that's like a concern in sex work, and I think that might shine a negative light. People thinking and seeing the attention that she got from doing 100 people, which in her case may have been exactly what she wanted, and like it looked nice and fun and happy, but like that's not everybody's case. So I think there needs to be a more positive narrative pushed forward versus like you need to fuck 100 guys to be humanized. Like I don't think that should be the narrative at all. And I think that's what's happening right now. Like I wish it was more like exploring your sex in like safe sex places versus doing crazy things that could end you up like hurt or in danger, or you know there's a negative side to sex work too, like any other career, but I don't think that part is shown a lot. Like I would have liked to see people dive more into her mental health state. I think I would have liked to see the documentary be like maybe a little bit longer, just so we can discuss like the other side of it besides the fantasy.
Yeah, I would love for you to dive deeper into that, because as I was watching, I kept thinking, does something like this, which seemed to be more of what they were referring to it as something, oh gosh, there was a word that they kept using to describe what this was going to be. This act of doing it. It wasn't like, I'm sorry, forgive me, everybody. I just cannot remember the word, because I remember being like, interesting that that's the word that they're using to describe what she's about to do these 24 hours. But I kept thinking in 24 hours, but I kept thinking, does this help or hurt the industry?
Yeah.
Does it help or hurt the people in it? And specifically, there's a moment, and I love that you talk about wishing it was longer and talking about the mental health and stuff behind it, because there's a moment when she's sitting down with the guy doing the documentary where she discusses, where he's like asking her questions like, have you done a criminal background check? How is this, did you do an STD test? And there's one moment where it kind of plays into negative stereotypes that people have about the industry, where she did not know you could get HIV from semen. And if you could speak to some of those moments, and more so in the context of, does something like this or a Lily Phillips or people like that in the industry help or hurt it?
I think in that context, for sure, she hurt it, because like our standard is to know. Like we get tested, like the panel, everything, like you should know. This is the adult industry, and your body is like, should be the last, like the most thing on your brain to like know, like, hey, this is my instrument. I need to know how to take care of it and how to interact with other people's bodies and make sure I'm safe. She didn't know like simple things. She just like, oh, I got a 200 count of condoms, but I sucked all the dicks. So what does that do? You know what I mean? So in that context, it definitely hurt. And it was like embarrassing to watch her like kind of be like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, oh God, Jesus, like this is where people think, oh, because she's so successful, look at, she made all this money, she has all this thing, all these people are coming, giving her attention, then this must be the average mind of a sex worker. They don't know X, Y, and Z, and like they just bring condoms. And like that's not the average. That's not in my experience. But there's also levels to sex work too. I feel like content creators versus people who do mainstream porn, like we have no choice but to like adhere to the guidelines and the rules that keep us safe. Whereas if you're just only doing content creation, the rules are yours. So she didn't set up enough safety, in my opinion, for herself. And I think that the interview guy was like more concerned for her than she was, which was alarming. That he's kind of teaching her stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not her first rodeo with it. So no, it definitely wasn't a good portrayal.
You bring up the difference between content creation and mainstream porn. And it used to all be basically mainstream porn, right? To a degree. If you are an old vet like myself, years ago, it was different companies making porn, and there were rules and there were guidelines and all that. As the internet has exploded, people's idea of porn and what they like and what they want to see through porn and sex work is different. And it's their mom and pop shops that have been set up everywhere. Has the proliferation of porn, the normalizing of it, the, how should I say, the desensitivity to it, is that a good thing? Has that been something that's been good for sex work overall? The fact that you can get as much porn as you want anytime with a touch of a button on your computer. Has that been a good thing for sex work? Or does something like that mean that people have to do continuously more outrageous and outlandish things in order to stick out from the pack?
Well, I feel like yes and no. Like, yes, like sex being ready for anybody to have at any moment is good for us because we profit from it. But do I think it's good overall? No, because of the way that people respond outward to sex workers just off the bat. They're just like, fuck you, you ain't shit. Like that response has become so normal that's why I don't think the accessibility to porn is good. Because not all of the porn that's able to be to watch is good porn. Guys think that like you just show up to a girl's house and like anal should be expected, rough sex should be expected, gobbling, all this stuff is expected. But people are not aware that like we're on a set where we planned it, we scheduled it out, we had hours and hours and hours before we hit record to get ready for that scene. Like I didn't just invite the pizza guy over for butt fucking, you know?
What? That's not. Are you being for real?
Guilty.
Oh.
You know, I think the way people perceive us, because of how much porn is out there and because of the type of porn that's out there, is negative. I don't think people know how to truly respect sex workers as a whole. The majority of comments on like porn websites, on like YouTube, on interviews, they're like, "Shut up, this bitch can't have an opinion." And I'm like, "Oh, are you serious? Like, we're human beings, you know? Like, we're your neighbor, we're your sister, we have kids, like people have careers outside of porn. People have been nurses, doctors, all kinds of things. And you think that we can't have an opinion because we suck dick? Don't most people suck dick?"
Yes.
So yeah, so that's it's a yes and a no. Like, yay, I want all of us to have money, but I want us to all be respected as human beings.
Oh, sorry. I
No.
didn't mean to interrupt you. Okay.
I'm rambling.
You are no. You're fine. For those listening, Anna, you're a Black woman. I couldn't help but think as I was watching this, what would the reaction have been if Lily Phillips was Black? Do you think the reaction would have been different? You're making a face. I'm curious as to what, and maybe speak to what it is to be a Black woman in the industry.
Yeah, I can't help but think that I saw comments. Close that. I saw some comments saying that same thing. Like, what if Lily was Black? How would the response be? I don't think it would have been received with so much grace. Like the way that Black women are treated versus white women in porn, like we already have to work harder in life. And a lot of people are like, oh, that's just a victim mentality. No, as a Black woman in porn who's been here for over a decade, if I'm not the most awarded Black woman in porn, I'm like second in line. And the fact that I have 8 awards and a white woman can get 8 awards in one night should say a lot. You know, like I can work for all the studios. I can show up. I have to show up on time, perfectly ready to go. Even though I'm going to get my hair and makeup done, I have to be able to do everything without any lip. But the way that I see white performers treated like princesses off day one without any proving that they can perform or anything, you know, like you have to prove that you can be here. You have to step up and like be the best off of day one. There's no grace really for Black women in porn. Even with the support of our fans, like if you work with white men, then your fans are going to say that you're racist. When if a white woman works with Black men, oh yay! Now you're awarded for doing that. Like it's not the same how we're treated, and like you can only experience that as a Black woman in porn. So I think if Lily was Black, she would have got a lot more hate. It would have tarnished the industry more. People would have picked out those things that she said and just like ran with it harder. Versus like I see some sympathy for her, and like even the way that the guys approaching her in the documentary was more of like a caretaker role. And I don't even see like in like murder mysteries, like the way that they have the dialogue for a Black victim versus a white victim is not the same. So I think it would have been completely different if Lily was Black.
Another thing that's interesting to me about the industry is when you hear somebody talk about it, there doesn't seem to be a middle. Wow. You hear someone say, hey, this is empowering. This is the greatest thing. I love it. Everyone shut up. Let me make my own decisions. Or you hear women and men leave the industry and say, it ruined my life. It is the worst experience I have ever had. I was taken advantage of. I was preyed upon. I was that. You don't ever get people that go, it was something I did for a while. It was all right. What's true about the porn industry? Is it something that gobbles up and uses and abuses, particularly young women? This is porn, period, whether it be the porn that you're making at your home and putting it on OnlyFans, or whether it be mainstream porn. Or is it something that people go into making clear-headed decisions as consenting adults that they're being responsible in, and you should be irresponsible in watching and consuming? Is it terrible? Is it amazing? Or is there a middle?
I do think that there is a middle. For the girls like Mia Khalifa and Lana Rhoades that left, I do think that they got like pulled in and chewed up and spit the fuck out. Like their experience was so insane compared to like my experience, where I kind of like stepped in wanting to do porn. It wasn't so negative. Like the negativity that I experienced wasn't anything I would say that I would experience not on Earth. So I wasn't like, you know, like I wasn't treated the same way that they were. And some of the stories I heard from them personally were just kind of insane. But I do think that you can come into porn level-headed and like make clear decisions and have boundaries, and those be respected, and you be successful. There's extremes to most things. Like, you know, you can run into other businesses and like end up getting fucked up. But yeah, no, porn is a place that if you're gonna step into it, you need to have clear boundaries and a plan of what you want to do, where you want to go, and why you're doing it. Because if you don't have those answered for yourself, the industry will answer it for you. And that's like the last thing that you want to happen. So you just need to take control of your life. It's your body. So you have to make those decisions for yourself and don't let the industry do it for you.
You said something real quick. I want one follow-up if it's okay. You said you came in wanting to do porn. Let me ask you something. A lot of people, when you said that, the first thing that is going to jump in their mind is why. Why? I'm serious. Like
it's a good question.
So why did you, Ana Foxxx, why did you want to do porn?
So for me, I was I was not 18 when I got into porn. I think I was 22, 23. My whole life.
That's
like,
good. I thought that was going a different way.
No.
I did too for a second.
My God.
I did too.
I was like, shit, man. Okay. Okay.
No.
All right. Yeah, you were 22. Yeah, nice.
I was
God bless.
20-something.
Yeah.
I was 20-something. And up until then, like, I hadn't really had very good sexual experiences, not because I was abused or anything, but just because it wasn't good. Like, my partner didn't know how to have sex with me. I didn't know how to have sex with him. I didn't want to have sex with somebody who had a girlfriend. I didn't want to get beat up because somebody wanted to dick me down. Like, I wanted to have sex with girls, didn't know how to do that. So when the idea of would you do porn came up, in my mind, I thought it was a great way and a place to learn how to have sex with professionals. And I never thought that I would be popular from it. Like, I never was seeking stardom. I just wanted to learn, well, how do you have an orgasm? How do you make a guy come? How do you eat pussy? How do you do these things? This is the only place that I can go where no one's going to beat me up for fucking this guy. No one's going to, treat me wrong. Like, I just simply want to know. No, I didn't think anybody would know because at the time, all of my friends had porn on their phones anyway. Like, they were all filming themselves having sex. So I didn't think it was so weird for me to go film myself having sex. And everybody I knew with a flip phone had a video of them sucking dick. So I was like, yeah, well, I want to do it. I want to have some fun. I want to pop some pussy. I want to learn. So for me, porn was an exciting place to go learn how to have sex. So I was just happy to be there.
Does it, and I'm going to keep referring to the documentary because as I was watching it, so many questions popped up. But do you ever, or have you ever felt, because you don't seem this way. I mean, like, you're beautiful, you like great personality, very bubbly. But do you ever feel lonely or maybe difficulty? And I don't know if you're in a relationship right now or whatever, but has there been difficulty dating? Is it difficult making friends? Like, there's a moment in the doc where she's talking about her family. What has that been like for you, or just in general, being in the industry?
I think
a lot of people wonder that.
Yeah. For myself in the beginning, when I got into porn, I kind of alienated myself from people. I didn't want my family to know. I didn't want everybody to know. I wasn't necessarily trying to like broadcast myself as a sex worker. But as I became Ana Foxxx, I learned respect for sex workers, which I didn't think I had before I got into sex work. Not really. Like, I thought I did. Like, oh, I would never do anything rude, but like, I don't think I really had a real respect like I do now for sex work. So as I got that, it made me able to have better relationships. Like, now I have like a super relationship with my family. I don't tolerate people that don't respect people as a whole. So I feel like my relationships with people are better. And I don't date. That's not to say that I don't have a partner, but I don't date because most guys are just like, well, you are Ana Foxxx and can I fuck you and your friend? That's not how I want to be approached regardless of my career. So I just have like a wall and a standard that people need to penetrate and achieve to be around me. And so the people around me are like, I feel like really wholesome. So I have my little den of thieves over here that we all, kick it and we're doing good. But I feel like it took me fully respecting myself to earn the respect of others, which I didn't have when I got into porn. So I can sympathize with her, like, wanting like a partner, wanting like transparency with her family and stuff like that. But I wonder if she really respects herself for her to get those things,
I love that you have that for yourself, by the way.
Thank you.
Love that.
Thank you.
Last question for me.
Okay.
How do you want the world to respond, society to respond to sex work, to porn, to the industry? Because once again, we hear both about how sex workers, we hear we shouldn't sex work shame, we shouldn't kink shame, we shouldn't do any of those things that put people in boxes. But at the same time, we also hear about how we need to keep our eyes on the creators of the content, their physical health, their mental health, their well-being, how they're being treated, what industry standards are, and all of that. So it seems like the narrative is both don't ask any questions. These are completely empowered people, and make sure that you ask questions because this is a workforce that is in peril and being preyed upon by people. So sometimes it's a little confusing. You're here and you seem to define yourself for yourself on your own terms. How do you want people that consume sex work, who don't consume sex work? How do you want sex workers to be treated and thought about in society?
I think people have to keep in mind that sex workers are human beings. I think the industry could help by putting out more behind the scenes, like documentaries similar to what Lily did, so they can kind of understand why she's done what she's done. Because if you just look at the little clip, you're not going to get it. But if you watch the documentary, you can kind of understand where she's coming from a little bit better. So I think if people look at us as individuals and our whole picture of why we're doing this, where we come from, they can sympathize a little bit better and understand that we enjoy putting on a performance. I think it is healthy to question people's actions in sex work, because if no one does, then you're just going to walk around thinking everything's great. And I did that for a long time until some questions came up and I was like, oh, you know what? That was bad. Maybe I shouldn't put out those images or portray this narrative that I don't really truly believe in. So it's not until you get questioned that you look at what images you're putting out. I think porn can do a better job with that as well. So I guess just give sex workers some grace and some patience while we figure out ourselves and what we're doing, because it's a journey that we go through, and our minds change, our hearts change, and media changes. So just be responsible with what you consume, and know that you need to treat real life sex different from the porn you consume. You can't walk into real life expecting crazy porn from your partners, unless that's what you guys talk about with enthusiastic consent. But outside of that, respect sex workers, respect your partners, and they are not the same unless they are.
Last thing for me, I think the word they were using in the doc was a stunt, and the stunt,
it's like she's Evel Knievel.
Yeah, it was really throwing me off. I was like, no, wait a minute. So they were saying it's a stunt. So now you mentioned this. She has announced that her next stunt, and I'm using air quotes, will be in February to have sex with 1,000 men in 24 hours.
Jesus.
Now, I've done the math, and I think my math is correct. That would be each man would get 1 minute, 1.4 minutes, if that's the case. Unless she doubles up.
Yeah, there's no way that she can accomplish from how unorganized her 100 dudes were. She's going to need more than 24 hours. I don't think her time management's going to be well. I think she's willing to do it. I think she's going to try her damnedest to do it, but I don't think she's going to have enough time.
That was my question. Just wondering.
No, I don't think she's going to have enough time, because in 24 hours, you need to break. You can't, as much as you're I've been on set where I'm like, you know what? I'm about to watch this. And I get in there and I'm like, bitch, I'm old. I'm not 21. So I fucking need a break. You need a minute. I need a minute. So she's going to need several breaks, water, lube, shower, fucking smoke. Girl, no. She's going to need more than 24 hours. I think she should shoot for 48.
Anna, who are the top 5 porn stars of all time?
All time? Jesus. Okay. I have to top 5. Okay, Heather Hunter.
Oh.
She's the GOAT.
Yeah.
Damn, that's really hard, because current, of all time, I have to put Heather Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I have to put Mandingo, just because that was the first household name that I knew, that everybody knew.
Yeah, Rachel's a big fan.
Huh?
Rachel's a big fan of Mandingo.
He's so nice too. He's just a really nice, wholesome, big dick dude. Skin Diamond was the next big household name that I knew. I'm almost wanting to switch her for Cherokee, or Pinky. But
Wow.
just in my world, that Skin Diamond. No, she wasn't. It was Pinky. It was Pinky. Yeah. Okay. And then damn, that's really hard.
But
I don't know.
by the way, we'll take all of these answers.
Okay.
You're going. This is the era. You're going Skin Diamond, Pinky, Cherokee, Obsession. I loved Obsession. Like this is the era. This is You're in the right era. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and then I
great
feel
Ana
like
Foxx.
Lexington Steele and Isaiah Maxwell. I know I probably named 5 right there, but like Lexington was like the first dude that I just saw fucking everybody. Like everybody, he fucked everybody. Like, and he was hilarious. Oh, Misty Stone. I know everybody is black, but I mean that's where I know porn. Yeah, I just root for everybody black, so I guess
there you go.
Throw Kiera Noir in there because we have to do today.
Today, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're we're not going to put you on the spot anymore. That's sufficient. Yeah. I know that you are a true connoisseur. Ana Foxx, model, award-winning performer, actress, producer, and wrestler. Thank you for joining us today on Higher Learning.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Rachel's choice. We got Travis Hunter and his girlfriend. Or I feel like I know what Rachel's going to choose. We got Jaleel White. Last topic.
This is tough because both of them got a lot of attention on social media. But I feel like there might be more meat with Jaleel White.
A little bit more Mandingo. Okay.
We're going.
Donnie.
Yeah. All right. Jaleel White, star of Family Matters, was promoting his book, Growing Up Urkel. I think this was a month ago, but he was doing a talk in Delaware where he opened up about what it was like to play that iconic role. And he shared what he believed to be why the show ranks so low for Black people when they're discussing their like favorite Black shows. This is what he had to say.
Being a part of the TGIF brand sometimes makes you feel like you don't completely belong in the pantheon of Blackness. You know, Blackness has been treated as a very monolithic experience in entertainment. You know, if it's not a hood story, it's not a Black story. And, sometimes I feel left out of that. So it's like, like if there's ever a poll and they say, oh, what are your favorite Black shows? And, Martin is in there or Living Single or any of those kinds. I already know we coming in last. But if there's ever a poll and it's just like your favorite family shows and suddenly Martin's not in there or whatever, all of a sudden we rank really high. And so it's kind of interesting in how we look at ourselves, to be quite honest, even as Black folks. And somehow I became a symbol for Black male nerd culture, to be quite honest. I mean, I know this for a fact. Any brother that grew up in the 80s and 90s, well, 90s and 2000s, wearing glasses, he was told at school he looked like me. He was called Urkel.
People were mad that he said this. And
they should have been.
Oh.
I feel sorry for Jaleel White. I almost said Urkel, and that would have just been proving some of his points.
See what I'm saying?
Well, it's just it was such a big character, especially a part of growing up. I watched TGIF. There were so many things I couldn't watch. I looked forward to Friday nights. I looked forward to watching Family Matters. And so when I see Jaleel White, I think Urkel. But of course, I'm giving respect and calling him by his name, Jaleel White. But I feel sorry for him. You can hear, and this isn't the first time he said something about it, and I would imagine it's sprinkled, if not the theme, throughout a lot of his book. But just, there's such a bitterness and a desperation to be accepted that by Black people, that it seems like he's just given up on trying and is now either on the defense or super critical of Black people and Black culture. And really, there seems to be this bitterness of him being typecasted as Urkel, as a nerd, as the guy with glasses. There were efforts to try to, you can tell if you watch Family Matters, try to get away with that when he was Stefan Urkel. And I think he played like somebody from the hood at one point in like a couple of episodes. Cause he was always.
Stefan definitely was him trying to show people that I'm not Urkel.
Right.
Yeah.
And it didn't work. And Urkel was so embedded in our minds that you couldn't see past it. And, it still kind of came out. And literally there were episodes where he would change back into Urkel. You know what I mean? Like the voice would come out while he was Stefan. The whole thing. Okay. Anyways. Yeah, I just because the bitterness, I think, surrounding that, and maybe his career didn't do things that maybe other Black actors of that time that were on other successful shows, their career took off in a different way. It just seems like he's being critical of Black people and Black culture, at the expense of Black people and Black culture. And so it's disturbing a little bit to see him talking about it in this way rather than recognizing the reality of Family Matters. Family Matters was corny. And I watched it. Compared to the rest of the Black shows, when you list Black family shows, Family Matters was corny. It's centered.
Okay, list the other Black family shows.
I mean, I'll try to stick to that time, right? Because you could go back and do like Good Times and stuff like that. But, you had My Wife and My Kids, you had Fresh Prince, you had Sister Sister, you had Bernie Mac Show, you had Parenthood. You could kind of throw The Cosby Show because that creeps into the 90s as well.
Sure.
And I'm sure I'm forgetting so many others, but there are a lot of family Black shows that don't center around being hood or hood characters. And
here's the thing. Really, none of them do. So
correct. None of them do.
So the thing to me wasn't necessarily, bitterness or whatever. He's just wrong. He's wrong about this.
But he is bitter.
Like, he's wrong about this. None of them do. Like, if you think about the Black shows that are the pioneering Black shows, the ones that are really like grounded in the ghetto, you can name those kind of on one hand, if I'm being honest with you. More than there was a time in the 70s where you saw a little bit more of that. But really, when you think about the ones that people really was fucking with, I mean, the Parkers was in the hood a little bit, but Moesha wasn't.
Right.
Right? Moesha Baldwin Hills, you think about the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you think about, like you said, Sister Sister, you think about the Bernie Mac Show. And right now, I'm actually doing a Black television history podcast that'll be out pretty soon. And so I'm watching all of these shows. Like Rock was in the neighborhood.
Oh, Rock.
Right?
Yeah.
Rock is a great show. I had so much fun rewatching Rock. Rock was a great show, but there are not as many shows that are in the hood as what he made it seem to be.
That's a great point. But there is a bitterness because he doesn't seem to feel like he's accepted. I mean, even like, what was it, a couple of months ago or something? Gabrielle Union, it came out she was like, we all hated you in college because you were there just is a deep rooted, to me, when I hear him talk about this, a bitterness of not being accepted by Black people, Black culture. And he attributes that to Family Matters. And I think that it's misplaced. Like, yes, Family Matters, I thought was a good show. It was corny, but the entire show.
What was corny about it?
Him. Because if you look at all the other shows that we named, those shows are funny all around. Multiple characters were funny. There were Black storylines within it, Black themes. That wasn't Family Matters. Family Matters centered around Urkel, who wasn't even originally supposed to be the focal point of that show. He was the neighbor. People fell in love with him and they made him that. If you remove Urkel from that show, there's nobody else. There's nobody else really. That show centered around him where the other Black shows didn't. Also, this show was created, isn't it a spinoff from Perfect Strangers? Like, it was created by
it is a spinoff
white people with white writers. And you can tell with some of the dumb, corny stuff that they used to make Urkel do. I'm not saying there aren't white people behind other shows.
Like there's so many more shows. Now that I'm actually doing this, there's so many more shows that were created by white people and white writers.
Correct.
And doing
look at a D.L. Hughley show. Look at Bernie Mac. Like, these are comedians. They write. They were Bill Cosby. Sorry, I know that's triggering, but you're saying the Cosby Show. Like, you have Robert Townsend with Parenthood. They were family shows. They were also comedians, writers, producers, heavily involved, I would imagine, in a way that the actors on Family Matters weren't, per se. But it's sad to me when I see Jaleel White do this, because I feel like he just digs himself a deeper hole every single time he talks about this, because there seems to be a lot of deep-rooted bitterness surrounding how things played out for him. No, it does. How things played out for him with his career, as opposed to other people that came out around the same time as him.
So, look, I don't look at it as being quite that deep. All right. I just think he's wrong. And even when he says, when he's talking about, I don't think he knows how the show was accepted in Black culture. I don't think he's aware of it. Now, I'll tell you why. Even when he says, if you were a Black guy that wears glasses in the 90s, you were called an Urkel. That is Black cultural penetration. It might not be the Black cultural penetration that you were necessarily looking for.
That's my point. Yes.
I know, but what I'm saying is, to say that he didn't have that tells me that he doesn't understand that for a lot of people, like when the nerds took over, and they did, we ended up winning. Like it was that being that at that time, it might have not been something that people were responding to, but the nerds won. The Marvel movies got made. The superhero movies took over. The shit, all of the other stuff, it went mainstream. The app making went mainstream. The nerds became the billionaires, and the whole thing flipped. Now, corny is corny. That's why when you say corny, I have to ask you what you mean by corny, because being a nerd and being corny are two different things.
Family Matters is corny.
Okay, now see, I don't necessarily think that it was corny. I don't necessarily think that it was corny. I think that it adhered to a lot of the sitcom structure, but corny to me is reserved for things that think that they're cool and are not. That's kind of the way I look at corny. I look at corny as weak and whack and all of that. I wouldn't say that Family Matters was corny, because niggas was watching Family Matters.
I'm not going to say it started off that way, but
people would say that Nick
way.
Cannon was corny. People would say that Will Smith was corny. And when people would say this about those guys, I'll be like, I don't think y'all really know kind of like corny is it's weak, it's impotent, it's all of those things.
But it's tiresome. It becomes simple at some points. I don't think Family Matters started off that way, but once they honed in and continued like into adult years with Urkel and the same antics, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the second, I don't even remember how that show ended. With the second half of it is when it became redundant and corny and cheesy and playing off some of the same things at the beginning that made it popular, rather than just like molding into something different. Like, you saw that with other shows. Like, imagine if Will Smith was the same the whole way through. No, like, you saw him grow up, you saw him transition, you saw him change. Yeah, he still had the Will Smith from the beginning, like inklings in it, but you saw a transition. You didn't see that in Family Matters.
But forget about Will. Think
Same
about Carlton.
stuff.
Think about Will. Forget about Will. Will was cool from the beginning. Think about Carlton. Carlton.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, he is a main.
No, the main. I
know, but what I'm telling you is that Carlton is that most characters that are supporting characters in that way and that are known for something, their character gets progressively. Think about Kramer when Seinfeld first starts. Kramer gets more Kramer. George Costanza gets more George Costanza. As the show goes on, there are less stories to tell, and people are essentially coming back to these sitcoms for the characters that they love. And the only way not to get tired of them is for you to go a little bit crazier when you come through the room, and for Costanza to go a little bit like more. That happens all the time, and it certainly happened with Urkel. It definitely happened with Carlton's character. Carlton's character at first was kind of like a preppy asshole, but kind of almost like a serious character. By the end, like he was literally like dancing to It's So Unusual and the Carlton dance and all of that stuff. That kind of happens in sitcoms. I think that whether it's bitterness, I'm not sure that I agree with that. I do think that he's not culturally reading the room. Sometimes people don't even take the flowers that you offer them. Sometimes you offer people flowers and they don't smell right. And they go, oh, I don't want these. I want the same flowers that Will Smith got. Or I want the same flowers that somebody else got. But Urkel been submitted in the hood. Family Matters, we love Family Matters. I don't know who didn't like it. Like, we love Family Matters.
I liked it.
Yeah. That's because y'all family was corny. Right? See?
We were not corny, but
not at all.
Let me step into my Jaleel White bag and get a little bitter about some of the things that you just said.
It's happened before. All right. We gotta get out of here. We'll be back in studio on Monday. Rachel, is that a thing?
Yep. We'll be here on Monday.
I'm in Miami right now. Shout out to but we'll be back. We're gonna get this money down here, and we're gonna make these movies next year. Donnie, I think it went well.
Yeah.
I want a grade from the audience on this. I think it went well.
I think you did well, Donnie.
All right, I appreciate y'all.
I can tell you practiced.
I agree. He did really, really good.
All right.
I think you did. I think it was dope. Maybe talk a little bit less.
No, you did fine. You did fine. And he's definitely one to talk.
Thank you to Ana Foxxx for joining us today on the podcast. That was fantastic. Taking caps off, but do not stop learning. I'm Van Lathan Jr.
I'm Rachel and Lindsay. Bye, guys.